Hey folks, David Stewart here. Hope you guys are having a great Saturday. Boy, there's a lot going on. Looking at like games coming out. I think there's a Zelda game coming out next week, which I actually don't know if I will buy because I think it's leaning heavily into Breath of the Wild. And that could be good or bad. But mostly, I thought Breath of the Wild was not a good game. I thought Breath of the Wild was, quite possibly the worst Zelda game to ever come out. I know a lot of people liked it, but I think the people who liked it maybe don't play a lot of games that compare to that play style. Maybe didn't finish it, or they just enjoyed the first. I enjoyed the first few hours I played Breath of the Wild for sure. I would say like the first 10 hours I played it were some of the best fun I've had playing a Zelda game. But the longer I played it, the worse the game got, and the more annoying the game got, to the point where once I realized the way that the gameplay loop was set up, the best way to play the game was simply to avoid all enemies, go directly to whatever things you wanted to get, and avoid exploration because it didn't get you anything. You would never get any benefit after a while from doing any exploring. You wouldn't get any better weapons. You'd break the weapons that you had, potentially, right? You wouldn't get any gold or anything. So it was better to just go find the shrines if you wanted to get more hearts, do the little mini beast dungeons, and then go do the end of the game. So once I realized that, it was like, this is really not a very good game. One of the worst open world games I've played, probably. So depending on how influenced by that they are, it's going to be really bad, or it could be that they understood what was bad about Breath of the Wild, including the weapon durability system, and they fixed that. I've heard people say that, they fixed it and they made it so you can mix weapons together. Like, what was that game? Was it Dead Rising? The one where you could put like chainsaws on sledgehammers and make weapons out of that. Like, that's a fun mechanic. But the whole idea of like my sword is shattering into glass every few hits is was just so stupid. And the fact that like you had to, anytime you engaged a group of enemies, it just penalized you. You just lost time. You didn't gain anything. There was no positive result of engaging any enemy in Breath of the Wild after a while. So like it was it was just like and there was very little content, if that makes sense. Like an Elder Scrolls game, if you play Skyrim, which I consider of the 3 Elder Scrolls games that people tend to play, it's probably the worst. But it's full of stuff. Like you go, here's a mine. You go and you explore that mine. You get gold out of it. You get better weapons. You find lore books. There's maybe a little story associated with that dungeon. There's a huge amount of story content in Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, just massive amount. That it's just, Breath of the Wild is just an empty land. You're exploring an empty land with nothing in it. And it's kind of interesting because like there's lots of ruins. You can imagine what was there. And there's sort of a stark quality to that, but it doesn't really compare with like a truly rich exploration experience like what you'd get with, say, Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. That's my opinion on that. It could have been much better than it was, but so I don't know what they'll do with the sequel, because the Breath of the Wild was such a popular game. It was a popular game on Nintendo, which says to me that like a lot of Nintendo players, like people who play Nintendo fans are kind of like Metallica fans. They're really insular. They love Nintendo. Nintendo's the greatest thing ever. And how dare you say anything bad against the blessed Nintendo company? I've never seen people shill harder for a mega corporation than people shilling for Nintendo. Even Sony fanboys really don't compare to the Nintendo fanboys. Like, but they have this insular experience, so they don't really have a lot to compare. Like, you meet Metallica fans, and you quickly figure out that they listen to almost nothing that's not Metallica, right? I make this point about Death Magnetic, right? I'm like, Death Magnetic is a really bad album, which is a Metallica album from, 2000... 7 or 8. I don't remember when it came out. It was the follow-up to Saint Anger. People liked it because it was better than Saint Anger. It was still an F. It's an F album. It's horribly produced. The songs are really boring and annoying. There's nothing really good about it that I can say. Other than, I guess it's better than Saint Anger. But Metallica fans will defend that it's good. I'm like, pick 100 metal albums at random and include Death Magnetic. It will be in the bottom 5 of any 100 random metal albums you pick out. It's going to be in the bottom 5%, not the bottom 50%. Bottom 5%. There might be a couple albums out of a random selection of 100 like major release metal albums that are going to be worse than Death Magnetic. But likely none. Likely it will be the worst one. You pick out 100, it'll be number 100 out of 100. It'll be the worst album in the entire mix. But I figured out Metallica fans don't listen to metal. They don't really listen to any music that's not on the radio. You know, if you ask them what other bands they listen to, they'll say like Tool or something like that, which is to me also a very boring band. But you know, I don't hate Tool, but it's like Tool. They listen to Tool because Tool was on the radio in 1999. That's why they listen to it. So Nintendo fans are like Metallica fans in that sense. They don't really have anything to compare Breath of the Wild to. They never played even Far Cry, which I don't consider a good open world game, but it is an open world game. So you know, how does Breath of the Wild compare to Crysis or something? It's like, well, those are completely different game styles. I'm like, the way they approach the world, not as much, but like a really good open world game is a much better experience than Breath of the Wild. One of the things I did like about Breath of the Wild were all the little puzzle dungeons. I thought those were fun, but I would have rather seen those within actual dungeons that you explore. The dungeon experience was missing, and that's what I really have associated with Zelda since Zelda 2. Well, I mean, even since the first one. The first game was about the dungeon, you know, the dungeon dive experience. And I think it really was about it, like, by Link to the Past. Like, that was the main thing, was like going through all the different dungeons, and the overworld was what connected them. Same thing with Zelda 2. Zelda 2 was very much about that. So, you know, no dungeons, that's a bold thing, but you have to have something else that makes up for it. Elder Scrolls is an open world game. It's also full of dungeons. You know, it's packed full of dungeons, and the dungeons are not designed as well as Zelda dungeons are, because Zelda dungeons, that's the emphasis, is on creating like this holistic level experience where you get an item and you use the item to get further in the level and then solve puzzles, and that's a great design. It really is. Elder Scrolls doesn't do that. You know, you stumble across a Falmer dungeon, it's an exploration experience looking for loot and figuring out how to beat enemies and see new things. So anyway, yeah, it's just, I don't know if I'll get it. There's a lot of hype around it. I know my son is into Zelda games, but he didn't really like, he liked Breath of the Wild, but he never finished it or anything. So I don't know, you know. It's been a long time since I've been like, yeah, I'm not going to buy the Zelda game. I'm not going to buy it. Now, I didn't play Skyward Sword until later because I actually didn't have access to a Wii. When I had a Wii, it was actually my roommate's Wii. And so when we weren't roommates anymore, I didn't have a Wii for that time until I got a Wii U. Yeah, Breath of the Wild, I think it's a great game, but it was by far just a template game. I think the dungeon experience was meant to be overworld, but got pushed into being in shrines due to limitations. Yeah, there's also like an encapsulated experience. When you step across a barrier and go into a dungeon, you are seeing you're seeing something that you feel like is a complete unit rather than something which is, quote, open world. You create these little separate rooms so that there's less to load into memory. There's lots of technical reasons why you do that. I know World of Warcraft was originally going to be completely open world like EverQuest, but they ended up going with instanced dungeons, basically so more people could access the content. And so you could split up the hardware load in different ways. So instead of having, you know, everybody's going to do dead mines and they have to line up and wait for the boss to spawn, that's not that fun. Whereas everybody can go into dead mines and then it loads you onto another server. You know, there's no lag, stuff like that. So helps a lot. Yeah, weapon durability isn't bad. Like, it's fine in Elder Scrolls. Your weapons break. You have to repair them. You have to expend some kind of resource or plan on repairing them. You can also improve the weapons, but they don't break and then they disappear. And that's not really realistic. You can get the idea that like you use a sword and it becomes dull, like the damage goes down because the edge becomes dull and you have to stop and sharpen your sword. Your sword doesn't shatter into glass after 20 hits, 20 times hitting armor. Like, this is so bizarre. Like, what a bizarre choice. It had, like I said, the first few hours you play it, that has a certain effect where it makes you improvise, and that can be quite a lot of fun. But after about 10 hours of that, you're really done, and you're really hoping to find good weapons that you can rely on to just do the combat correctly. Or even weapons that break and you can repair them. You have to stop and find a place to repair them. That would have been a lot more fun. Oh yeah, the rain mechanic where you can't climb on the walls and you get electrocuted and stuff like that. Yeah, a lot of ideas that I just think were executed really, really badly. So yeah, what else was here? People actually defend the rain mechanic in Breath of the Wild, even though it exists almost solely to waste your time. Yeah. And the thing is, I'll actually defend the days mechanic in World of Warcraft. People hate days. And so if you don't know what days is, if you never played World of Warcraft, you're riding on your mount, and if you ride past the monster aggroes. It finds you and it starts to attack you. And it has a chance when it hits you, if you're on your mount, to daze you, to knock you off your mount so you are no longer on your mount and you're walking very slowly. So you can't even walk at normal speed. People hated this. Why? Well, because they get on their mount and they want to go quickly from point A to point B. And daze interrupts that. They have to stop. They have to fight a monster. You can't just get back on your mount and ride. It's a big pain. Or you just continue walking with daze on until you lose health and die. Or if it's a low level, people are like, oh, a level 1 mob dazes me off my mount. Well, the whole point is that the original World of Warcraft, it's a dangerous world. It's a world full of things which can kill you. So you have to plan on that. If you go on the roads, there's no monsters on the roads. The game's full of roads, right? But if you go through an area full of monsters, there's going to be danger waiting for you there. And the danger is as such that you can't just ride past it once you have enough gold for a mount. It's not like pay 100 gold and now you get to skip the content. It's like, no, monsters are still dangerous even if you paid 100 gold for a mount. Sometimes they will stop you and attack you and you can't escape and you have to fight them. Right? That's the whole point of the days mechanic, and I actually think it's really good. If you were given full control of a project to make an open world RPG and had all the funding you needed, what type of RPG would you like to make? Fantasy, science fiction, caveman times, etc. Probably fantasy, because that's what I tend to write a lot of. I think if you're operating in fantasy, and I was just doing some writing on this for the Storycraft book, which will come out eventually. But on fantasy settings have a big advantage in that you can alter the rules of the game, so to speak. And what I mean by that is, like, there's normal ways that we operate in the world, right? We think of, in order to go to the store, you have to get in a car and drive there, or you have to walk, things like that. Fantasy changes a lot of the rules. The way people act, the way cultures are, you can make cultures however you want them to be. You can make weapons work however you want. You can add magic that changes all the possibilities for where a plot can go. And it's the same thing with games. It changes the possibilities of how you play the game. Think of all the different ways you could play a game like Morrowind. It's really insane. One of the big drawbacks to, say, Elder Scrolls V compared to Oblivion and Morrowind is there's just so much less you can do with magic. In Morrowind, you had stuff like levitate and like jump spells and all kinds of crazy things that you could do in Morrowind that would break the game, but that was part of the fun of it, right? And I think designers are like, well, we don't want people to just levitate across the island. It's like, well, you had to really learn what was going on in the game before you could just levitate across Morrowind. So personally, I think it's better to have lots of different options and let players explore those and find ways that the game breaks. You can find those game-breaking ways in the testing phase. Maybe you can mitigate them a little bit, like alter the mechanic a bit. But yeah, I think fantasy is the way to go for story reasons, for lore reasons. You can write whatever lore you want. You can do science fiction as well, but the problem with science fiction is like, what is that, right? Like Cyberpunk is a pretty good game, I think. I think my review reflects that. And it has a pretty good way that the world works, but it's not as attractive an environment as fantasy. Whereas like fantasy could have cyberpunk elements in it as well. Like there's nothing to say you can't have cyberpunk in fantasy. So I'd probably do it in a fantasy setting because it just opens up the story possibilities, the gameplay possibilities, the everything possibilities are great, you know. I used to love stealthing as a high-level rogue and dazing opposing faction players off their mount, then re-stealthing. Your pets used to be able to daze. So what you used to be able to do like in early days of WoW, and I don't know if they changed this. I don't know how quickly they changed it. But your pet, because it was a mob, could daze players off their mount. So what you do is you go hide by the exit to Booty Bay, and you play Night Elf. So you stealth as a Night Elf hunter, and then you stealth your pet. And then when a horde runs out, you have your pet, which is a cat, because cats could stealth, daze them off their mount and kill them. You know, you could do things like that. Like you could, there was also pursuit speed. So if you got certain pets, they would run like incredibly fast, way faster than pets. Like if you play classic WoW now, that's like patch 1.12. We're talking like patch 1.4 and like before. Your pets could run at like 260% speed. They could run as fast as a flying mount. So they could run down the person, daze them off their mount, and kill them before they could do anything. Or, you know, they daze them off the mount, and then you'd aim shot them out of stealth. And the way aim shot worked originally is that aim shot, your shadow meld didn't drop until aim shot went off. So if you were 60 and you did aim shot, your aim shot could potentially one-shot a lot of players, especially if it was a mage or something like that. So your pet would daze the mage off the mount, and then your aim shot would hit him, and he'd go down to like 5% health, and then you'd multi-shot him, and he'd be dead. So you could gank people like right outside Booty Bay really easy. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, Cyberpunk 27. Shadowrun would be a great MMO. I think that would be a great MMO, would be a Shadowrun one. I think there's a lot you could do with that. I think there's a lot of possibilities, a lot of fun possibilities. So anyway, yeah, Tears of the Kingdom's coming out. I'm not personally super interested in it, but I might buy it and stream it. I'm going to be finishing Final Fantasy VII right now, and that'll be the end of Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy XVI comes out next month, and I'm going to play that one at launch. I really want to play that one at launch. So what do I do for a month in the meantime for streaming, for doing gaming stuff? For just me playing a game? Well, you know, I guess I could start Final Fantasy VIII and set that up. Or I could play Zelda for a bit. I've been playing Castlevania Lords of Shadow, which is actually a really good game. I forgot how good this game is. It's from, you know, Gaming Ground Zero era. I think it's 2010 or something like that. Really good game. Great graphics. Great gameplay. Okay story. Amazing aesthetics. Some of the, you know, top tier aesthetics as far as the way they visually design the game. Looks great. So, you know, just playing games till then. I could maybe play Final Fantasy Tactics or Ogre Tactics, which I have on the Vita. Something like that. I don't know. I haven't decided. Are you just going to use... I don't even have the Knights of the Round Summon, and I won't actually need to use it either. The final boss is pretty easy. I died last week because of random stuff. The way things lined up is that I hadn't healed up the party, and then he transitioned into the next form and did like 2 spells in a row. Oh no, what he did was he confused... I hadn't cast Resist on Cloud, so he confused Cloud, and Cloud killed my whole party. Because that's how it works. You might get a DMCA just for saying Zelda. I'm pretty sure I could like stream the game though, right? Are you allowed to stream Nintendo games? I've done it before. I could set up a dock in here and stream Zelda. I think that would be fun. Oh, whoops. Hold on. Let me set this up. I forgot I had... so what I did off camera was I There it is. I got back up to the boss and did a couple rounds of Sephiroth's form here. So, do you want me to do you think I should restart this this phase of the boss fight, or should we just go from here? I've done a couple rounds. He already did like the supernova thing. I just wanted to show my son the fight a little bit because he likes boss fights. I love Last Remnant. I should stream that one. That's a great game. Yeah, casting Knights of the Round will add an extra hour to the stream. So does Supernova. Supernova takes forever. I've been looking into Dieselpunk lately. It's similar to steampunk, but set in the early 20th century. Yeah, this is... I consider this kind of Dieselpunk. All right. So why don't we just go from here and kind of see what's up, shall we? Hopefully you can hear all that. All right, Tifa. Death blow? I don't know. We can do 2 magics here. I don't remember if I cast resist on. I'm gonna double do resistance here so that he can't confuse us. Let's just do Comet 2. She has a Yuffie has a ribbon, so she won't get confused. Dean. Oh no. We'll do Big Yard. Cure 2. Cure 2. Just double up the Cure 2. I think Regen is down, so I'm going to put Regen on everyone here. Ooh. He's got a limit. Like, finishing touch. We need to still heal up Cloud here a little bit. We'll do Cure 2 on Cloud. And I don't know what to do here. Cast Ultima on him. I think when he goes up, you can't hit him with melee attacks. Yeah. But we can do... let's see here. Trine, Shadow Flare. Do Shadow Flare. Alright, let's do Cure. Suna. Limit break. Oh. Alright. Little anticlimactic to do like 2 rounds on stream and then he's dead. But these final bosses are really not that hard. They're really not. Like, I didn't even have to use any Mega Elixirs or anything. But that's a good thing to use, like, on this boss, is, like, he does the Supernova and you just Mega Elixir. Should have a bunch in your inventory. Yep, that's it. So there's a final form which you actually can't lose here, which is just like Cloud versus Sephiroth. Very anticlimactic, sorry, guys. But that's about where I died last week. So, just kind of put it together there. This is all we could do.
What? Wait, what about Holy? What's gonna happen to the planet?
That, I don't know. Isn't the rest up to the planet? You're right. We've done all that we could do. All right, everyone. It's no use thinking about it. We'll leave all our worries here. Let's go home proud. I probably should have restarted the fight so you could see Supernova again. Like 5-minute summon. What happened? I feel it. What? He is still here. Still. Cloud? He's laughing. It's a cool cutscene. Very 90s. In a good way. Yeah, it's basically a cutscene here. Turn off that target. Limit break. Omni slash. You actually can't lose this. I don't know if there's any dialogue here or not. Oh, I didn't even have to Omni Slash him. I just countered him. Whoops. That's a little anticlimactic, isn't it? Sorry. He's supposed to do Omni Slash, and it looks cool. But instead, he just counterattacked him and killed him. Great cutscene, though. Live stream? The big pants were kind of part of 90s. Those puffy pants. This is, you know, we thought that looked cool. Not the baggy pants of like 1999. These were just like kind of puffy thigh pants. I think I'm beginning to understand, he said, hanging on by a hand. An answer from the planet. The Promised Land. I do pull up with one arm. I think I can meet her there. Yeah, let's go meet her. Hey, where is everyone?
Hey!
Glad you're all safe. They all seem to be safe too.
But now what are we gonna do?
Holy should be moving soon. And that means this place will... Oh, Lady Luck, don't fail me now. Funny, this music sounds like my MIDI demos of my compositions from like the year 2000. And finale, this is like what the finale MIDI files end up sounding like. Because back then we'd record them on a cassette. Like plug your computer into a cassette. I still have my little cassette recorder. And then you plug that cassette in and that's how you demoed your music. Back in the ancient times, when people didn't just have CD burners. Or little thumb drives and stuff that would actually hold audio files. Remember when you could show characters smoking in kids' games? Yes. Look at that castle. I like castles. The flower girl? Very cool cutscene. Oh man. Sorry, people of Midgar. What to do after crashing the train into North Corel? I'm trying to remember that part. Like, you crashed the train? I'm trying to remember what to do.
Wait a damn minute. What's gonna happen to Midgar? We can't let that happen.
Hey, did everyone take refuge in the slums? But the way things are now... It's too late for Holy. Meteor is approaching the planet. Holy is having the opposite effect. Forget Midgar. We've got to worry about the planet. What's that? Yeah, these I like these cutscenes. This was very cool for the 90s. And I do like the MIDI music. It's just a little bit, you know, it's a little bit cheese, I guess. This reminds me of Finale MIDI from the 90s and 2000s. Did they ever plan on making a direct sequel? I don't think so. But they made a lot of spin-offs. It's kind of funny because the ending of Final Fantasy XIII is basically this, except everybody's on the meteor and not on the planet. Like, it's like the moon trying to crash into the planet and they stop it. But they made direct sequels to one of their games other than 10 and 13. And Dragon Quest. Well, Dragon Quest, I mean, I don't even know if there's kind of sequels. They're not really direct sequels. I don't know. I can't think of any. Now, there was a sequel to Final Fantasy XII on the Nintendo DS. It was called Final Fantasy XII. But it's a sequel. Final Fantasy Tactics Advance 2 is a sequel to Final Fantasy XII. Also on the Nintendo DS. Revenant Wings, that's it. Thank you, Wade. That's great. Oh, Final Fantasy IV The After Years, that's a sequel. I forgot about that one. It's really not good. It's very boring and really superfluous. I don't recommend it. That's good. And here's the credits. Hironobu Sakaguchi. It's cool we see, like, Aerith at the end there, because we see her at the beginning in the opening cutscene. So I thought that was kind of cool. It's good. It's cinematic. Well, they've done how many other... They've done several Final Fantasy VII spin-offs. They did Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, which was the movie. You think after this you could play Xenogears? I could. I could also play, like, Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U, which is cool. Advent Children. They did do a sequel movie, is that it? Yeah, putting some dungeons in Tears of the Kingdom would be good. I really miss dungeon delving. Final Fantasy Type 0. I have Type 0 HD. I think on Steam. So that might be cool to play. I'm just trying to think about what to do in the meantime till Final Fantasy 16 comes out. Final Fantasy VII R seems to basically be a sequel from what I've heard of speculation. I don't know. There's this weird thing where, like, ghosts are trying to make you do the things from the game. Which is kind of cool. Yeah, we could do a little bit of Final Fantasy VIII, but I'm really planning on doing Final Fantasy 16 when it comes out next month. Golden Sun would be good. Golden Sun is a great game. It's one of my favorite JRPGs, actually. Need Final Fantasy VIII and pause when 16 comes out. I have the Final Fantasy VIII Remastered. Let me see if I have it on Steam, or if I have it on something else. Final Fantasy VIII Remastered. I have it on Steam. Sorry. I didn't like the demo for Bravely Default 2 very much, but that doesn't mean it's bad. I haven't played Bravely Default 2. I played the original Bravely Default, and it was... oops. That's fun. And it was very good. And Bravely Second was fun. Xenogears is Evangelion if Hideki Anno actually knew what he was talking about when it came to Christianity. Well, the Gnostic side of it, at least, yeah. I think they just liked it. They just used it for aliens. Like, the whole thing was, it was just aliens. You know? It's like, okay. Legend of Dragoon. There's a lot of good games on the PS1, really. Not all of them hold up. I actually think Final Fantasy VII holds up not nearly as well as, say, Final Fantasy IX. But it does hold up. Like, it is generally a good story and decent gameplay. Yeah, we could play Final Fantasy VIII. That might be fun. That's the only one I haven't finished, I think, of like the whole series at this point. No, I never finished 15. I didn't like 15 very much, and then I got distracted by other things. So my plan was to do 15. I could go and do 15. It's pretty fun. I got a little bored with it. I don't think it's a bad game. I have to think about how I play Golden Sun. I don't think I have it on this. Is our Final Fantasy thing. I have to see what Game Boy Advance emulation I have set up on this machine. I don't think I have any of them set up. The other thing is I have Final Fantasy 15 on the PlayStation, and it runs better on the PC, and it's easier to stream on the PC. But I don't want to pay for it again. So with this one, I've done on the stream and reviewed Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and Final Fantasy 14. Well, right now it's on sale for $18. So, I mean, I could certainly buy it. And play it. How confusing will it be if they do Bravely Second 2? Where was I in Final Fantasy 14? What was it? The second expansion. But I haven't played in a while. What was the second expansion? Second or third expansion? Shadowbringers? But I haven't played in a while because honestly, I just don't really have anyone to play with, and it's an MMO. It's more fun with friends. It really is. Yeah, we could do the Final Fantasy 15 Windows Edition. Because I think it runs really good on the computer. But I also just don't like paying twice for games. I just really hate doing that. But it's a good game, and I think I could run it in. I can run it in like 4K and stuff on the PC. On the PlayStation, you have to run it in like here's the extra cutscene. Some like after scenes here, which are pretty cool. Stormblood. That's it. Then we can start on Final Fantasy VIII. That's fun. Yeah. I have the Final Fantasy 15, the Royal Edition on PlayStation. If you run it on like boost mode, it runs at 60 FPS and it's actually really good. If you run it on, there's like a higher fidelity mode, it doesn't even look better, but it just runs at really choppy 30 FPS, maybe even 20 FPS, which kind of sucks for a PS5. Like there should be plenty of horsepower to run that game better, but you know. I'm assuming there's programming limitations to that end. I've played Dragon Age Origins at least 4 times. To do every single different like story ending. The best one is if you play as a human noble, you can marry the queen. That's a cool outcome. But you have to you know, you end up kicking what's his face out of your party. Here we go. I love the harp. It's always such a nostalgic song to me. Yeah, I'm in the Houston area. It's like 90 right now, and 90 is really no joke in Houston. 90 is not that hot in Fresno. Like in Fresno, it's 90 from March until the end of October. 90 to 110, you know. But it doesn't feel nearly as bad at 90 because it's really dry compared to, you know, it's a Mediterranean climate compared to this tropical environment where it's wet. Everything feels wet. Your sweat doesn't work. I want Morgan to step on me. You have to kick Alistair out of your party, and you have to get, what's his name? Logain. You have to have him in your party, and then you can marry his daughter. And Logain will kill the archdemon and die for your party. I think that's how it worked out. Yeah, Fort Hood, 90 in Fort Hood's hot. 90 at I'm trying to think of the Air Force Base in Lemoore there. 90 in Lemoore is not hot. 90 at Edwards is actually not hot. It's I mean, it's hot if you're standing in the sun. It's actually miserable if you're standing in the sun because the sun is like mega intense. But it's really pretty manageable. You just like get under an umbrella and you feel good. But unfortunately, like if you're ever at Edwards, it gets up to, you know, 115 often in the summer, very often. Now see if I bought Final Fantasy 15 for the for this, I could probably run it on the Steam Deck. Does it run on the Steam Deck? That gives me a lot of options. Fun fact, you can play Final Fantasy 14 on the Steam Deck, and it runs really good. Are you going to Galveston in the summer or Corpus? Probably Corpus. I mean, Galveston's fine, but like Galveston, like the water is gross and there's jellyfish and stuff. So you don't want to go in the water very much in Galveston. And you get in there and you're like, isn't this supposed to be refreshing? This is like a warm bath. Oh, she won't marry whoever kills her father. Oh, you have Alistair kill Logain. Okay. That's interesting. I think I had Logain in the party. I like Logain. I like to have Logain kill the Archdemon. I think that's like that would be a good story outcome, like to redeem Logain and have him kill the Archdemon. I think I like that better than just having him get killed. You know? Yeah, Alistair's really just kind of a, you know, along for the ride kind of guy. Does it just do this forever? I think it does this forever. I think this is just a screen. And that's it. I'm going to Google it, though. Yeah, this just goes on forever, so. That was good, though. I heard the next Dragon Age is supposed to be like God of War. Good grief, how to ruin a franchise. Give it God of War. Give it God of War combat. Oh, boring. I mean, the new God of War games are kind of boring enough as it is. If you harden Alistair, you can convince him to spare Loghain. He leaves the party to immediately become king and you get Loghain. Oh, I didn't know that. That's an interesting one. So you can do some dialogue. I haven't done that. I haven't made that outcome happen yet. But yeah, I loved in Dragon Age Origins just like the sheer number of varieties of outcomes you could produce at the end. So pretty cool. And we could do Final Fantasy 15. You don't have to tip me. It's something that I might just want to have anyway. Because the other thing is, if you have it on PC, you can run mods and stuff and do things with it in the future. It's kind of a more feature-oriented thing. And I still have a physical copy for PS4, you know. I always have that physical copy sitting around. Who are your 3 favorite Zelda games? Mine are Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and 2. So my favorite are probably Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and probably A Link to the Past. Are probably my top 3. I think the first one, it's definitely a classic, but unless you have a guide, it's impossible. Like, you won't get very far without a guide. So I don't know anyone who ever beat it without a guide back in the day. We have a lot of nostalgia for it, but nowadays we would consider that bad design. Number 2 is simply too hard. It's like one of the hardest games I've ever played. I've only beaten it without Game Genie like one time in my life, and it was really hard. And I still use the guide to beat it because that last level is like a labyrinth. Ocarina of Time is good, but it's not my favorite. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a really good game. I think graphically it doesn't hold up as well as other games. It just doesn't look that good, I think. But it still plays really good and it has a very good story. And the dungeons are really good too. If you could also play the Master Quest version of it. I have a GameCube disc that has it, oddly enough. And it runs really great. And that makes the dungeons, switches all the dungeons up. So I think the dungeon design in Ocarina of Time is really good. It kind of set the bar pretty high. I think the only reason it's not in the top 10 is like, it's a good game, but I don't have that much nostalgia for it. It's one of the few good games for the Nintendo 64. And this is always a controversial opinion that the Nintendo 64 is one of the worst consoles Nintendo ever came out with. But when you look at the Nintendo 64, if you were there to experience it, and it was your only console, or the only console that you had access to, at least, then you're going to have a higher opinion of it than if you had something else like a PC and then, Nintendo 64, right? Or if you had access to a PlayStation, if that was your console and your friend had the Nintendo 64, you kind of realized like how bad it was. So there was very, very few games for the Nintendo 64, and really very few good ones or classic ones. Most of the ones people list as classics are classics, but that doesn't mean that the console is good. So Nintendo made Ocarina of Time, that's a classic. Mario 64, it's a classic. Both of those are good games. But beyond those two, it's hard to find too many other really good games. GoldenEye was fun at the time, but I think it holds up horribly. And I actually didn't even at the time think it was a good shooter. But that's because I played shooters on the PC, which were universally better than GoldenEye. So GoldenEye was good if you didn't have a PC and you had no access to shooters. Then it was great, and it was fun to do 4-player GoldenEye, even though it ran at like 10 FPS. It was still a really fun experience. Turok, I don't think holds up all that well, but it was okay. I wouldn't call it a classic, but it's probably a good game for the system. There's games like Donkey Kong 64 that just aren't very good at all. There's games that people remember being good, like Conker's Bad Fur Day, which again are just not very good. They don't really hold up. They were maybe okay at the time. 3D graphics are okay, but they just run terribly. Most of the games ran at really low frame rates. Fog, they looked bad, they were chunky, they looked so much worse than Super Nintendo games. And even though PS1 games aren't lookers by any standard, somehow the PS1 most of the PS1 games ended up looking better than the Nintendo 64 games. And I'm not sure exactly why that is. Someone's probably done some technical videos on it. I think like the texture cache for the Nintendo 64 was like microscopic. So you got these very blurry, ugly textures, whereas for the PS1 you got more complex stuff. But there's all kinds of weird stuff with the PS1 too, like there's dithering on surfaces and it looks weird now. It's the worst console of it's the worst generation of consoles is the PS1. Even though there's lots of classics, they looked the worst and most of them played the worst. There was like that Mega Man adventure game where you had to turn with the shoulder buttons. Awful, just awful gameplay. So there's so many games that had terrible gameplay because you didn't know how to operate a 3D environment at the time. That's just kind of, it came with the territory, you know? It was just part of how that stuff worked back then. Was that you had you just had no idea how to program in 3D. So everything was new. So a lot of the games that were classics were kind of the exception, and most of them just don't really hold up all that well. PS1, meanwhile, had like hundreds of games that were good compared to the N64. If it wasn't for Nintendo putting out some really good first-party titles, then Nintendo 64 would have been a very skippable system. There's other problems with the Nintendo 64. The controllers break, right? You had to have that RAM upgrade to play certain games. The storage on the games was small, so you lost entire genres of games on the Nintendo 64. Like Final Fantasy just abandoned the Nintendo platform because the storage was too small. I mean, even the Saturn had like a better selection of games the first couple years of that generation than the Nintendo 64 did. It was really unfortunate. But Nintendo made a bunch of kind of errors with their thinking. They're like, well, if we get cartridges, people can't pirate it. They're too worried about piracy and not worried enough about people buying the hardware. Most people were not knowledgeable enough to pirate the games anyway. They were gonna just buy the games because that's what they'd always done. So missing out on a disc drive was a big, big miss for Nintendo that generation. So yeah, Ocarina of Time I think visually doesn't hold up all that well, but it's okay. The graphics are not bad enough that it makes the game bad. I still think it's a great game. It's just not my favorite Zelda game. It's probably like number 6 or 5. It's good though. It's definitely worth playing. Oh, Bubsy 3D. What about those 2 Castlevania games? Those were awful. They came out with 2 3D Castlevania games for the Nintendo 64, and they were just abysmal. Meanwhile, the PlayStation 1 had Symphony of the Night, arguably the best Castlevania game ever made. They went 3D a full gen too early. They had 3D games on the Super Nintendo, on the Super Famicom, like Star Fox. But they were able to kind of limit what they were doing with those in a way that it worked. And, the novelty of Star Fox doesn't quite overcome the badness of the graphics, I guess. Star Fox 64 was okay, I guess. Almost always you can tell if somebody is talking about how good the Nintendo 64 was, that was the only console they owned, or it was the it was the only console they owned, or it was the console that they had when they were like 12 or 13. So when they were in the prime window of gaming, that's what they had to game on. So therefore, they're going to be really nostalgic for it. The same reason that people who were 12 in 1995 like Nirvana so much. It's because Nirvana was on the radio when they were 12, and that was the first kind of popular music they got into, and therefore Nirvana is really good. People who were older don't really have a positive view of Nirvana. People who are younger don't really remember them or care about them. So it's all about like how old you were with certain things. That's why I think, and now keep in mind the PS1, I was 12 when the PS1 came out. And I don't really have a huge nostalgia for the PS1. And I don't really have a huge nostalgia for the Nintendo 64. I have much more nostalgia for PC games at the time because that's where I did most of my gaming in the mid-90s was on the PC. That's where the hot games were for like teenagers. Things like Quake and Doom, Dark Forces and Jedi Knight. All of these shooter games were on the PC and were just better. Things like Warcraft and Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3, StarCraft, all that stuff was PC. So the PC side of it just had different and better games in the mid-90s than the console. Console experience is a little bit different. I feel like consoles got really good with the PS2. Like PS2, GameCube, Those were really good consoles and absolutely stacked libraries, like some of the best games ever made. And then I think the first few years of that next gen, of the PS3 gen, was really stacked as well. Had some of the best games ever made. Then the industry started to really stagnate. The AAA industry stagnated and started just remaking the same things over and over again. And we've had, I call it Gaming Ground Zero. I did a video on it. 2007 is when the industry sort of ran out of steam. They stopped making new franchises and started just making new installments of old franchises where they keep everything the same. Like gameplay's the same. They just don't really change much. Think of like Far Cry. You can buy Far Cry 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't even know what they're on yet. Any variation of those, and it's the same game, just with, a different map. So you're buying just the same game experience over and over again. Assassin's Creed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many they get. Until you start getting to like Odyssey, they actually start to switch up the formula. But you got the first Assassin's Creed game. You got Call of Duty Modern Warfare. You got Final Fantasy XII was 2006, but you also got Oblivion. You got every game that set the standard for like open world shooters. They all came out in 2007 or 2008 or 2006. Pretty much every game. God of War 3, God of War 2 and God of War 3, right? Like these games were really sort of defining for the industry, and then nobody did any variations of them for, at least in the West, for years. So, yeah, PS2 was great. You forgot Age of Empires 1 and 2. Age of Empires was good. Civilization 3 and 4 were great. They were always good. All right, let's figure out what we want to play next. I think I'm going to get the PC version of this, so I could just play it on stream a little bit easier. Like a little more control versus playing it on the couch. Having to have all my family like on the couch. We'll download it. I got the complete edition because it was $1.50 more to get the DLC. Why not? Install content. 105 gigs. Dang. Which drive do I want to install? I'll install on the main drive. I need to get some more like M.2 drives. Dark Souls was really Demon Souls. Dark Souls was Demon Souls. And Demon Souls was like hard mode God of War almost. Or like hard mode Devil May Cry. I don't know what to put it as. It wasn't completely original, but Demon Souls was good. And actually the Demon Souls remake for PS5, I think is actually really good. I think it's the best remake I've played in that it is really a one-to-one remake of the original, just with better graphics. They didn't just replace the textures. They redrew everything to be higher fidelity. And it runs really good. So one of the few remakes I can say, like, this is what a remake maybe ought to be. It keeps everything the same, but just kind of ups the graphical fidelity, redraws it so it's better. It's not just a remaster where we're upping the resolution it draws at, or maybe replacing some of the textures with higher quality textures. We're redrawing things with the modern technology in mind. It looks really good. Demon Souls was just a sequel to Kingsfield. Oh, man, we're going down the rabbit hole. I mean, Demon Souls is just, I don't like the Demon Souls remake because of how much soul was lost in the designs. Well, there's certain aesthetic qualities of the PS3 version that I miss for sure. It had a better atmosphere. The PS3 version did. I will definitely say that. There was a darker atmosphere, and that was partly the limitations of the hardware, the PS3 hardware. I could do it would be a good video to do a comparison of those two. So it's partly the Yeah, it's partly the limitations of it. So you couldn't have the same lighting effects. You couldn't have like volumetric lighting. You were kind of surrounded in this bubble of light, and everything was dark. Things were foggy. You couldn't see things very far away, so it lent to the overall darkness of it. It's kind of like going back and playing Marathon, and it only renders things so far away, and everything else is darkness. Or same thing with Doom, like everything looks dark in the distance because it doesn't render things that far away. So it kind of lends to the atmosphere of the game. And then there were some designs that I think were better in the PS3 version for sure. And I wished that they maybe had stuck a little closer to those designs. But, I can't second guess every creative decision for a remake, because somebody may have looked at, remake it, but make it really true to the original. And it just doesn't translate to the high fidelity format. So you just maybe make make some artistic adjustments and redo it from scratch, because it just doesn't quite work out, Have you ever played RuneScape? Maybe once upon a time, but I've never been a RuneScape player, really. You played that? You used to be able to play it in a browser window, if I remember right. This was like 20 years ago or something. Demon Souls art design looks better than Dark Souls 1, even, I'd say. I like Demon Souls, the PS3 art design, better than Dark Souls, but I like Dark Souls design as well. Sorry, I've got horrible allergies today. I have no idea. Actually, I know why. Everything's blooming. We're getting cicadas now. We're having the cicadas start to clack, which is great. Would you ever consider playing the Resident Evil 4 remake? Yeah. I like the original a lot. So, I don't know. I've heard mixed things. I've heard like the remake is good, but it's not as good as the original, or it's better than the original in some ways and worse in others. This is how these things end up working out, The thing that I like about the Demon Souls remake, better than the original, besides just higher fidelity, is that it runs at 60 frames per second. You can run it at a high frame rate, and that makes a huge difference. I didn't realize how much of a difference high frame rate would make in a Souls game until I got one, because I'd been playing Souls games at like 30 FPS. Dark Souls 1, I didn't play Dark Souls 3. Should try Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 1, the original Demon Souls, Bloodborne, that was the other one on the PS4. All these games ran at fairly low frame rates, but 60 FPS just feels so much better for a game like that. Like, because you're reacting a lot. Same thing with playing something like Final Fantasy Origin, like the Stranger of Paradise game. Running it at the higher frame rate, and because you're doing so much reacting to what enemies are doing, it's just way better that way. It's just such a better experience when things are high frame rate. That was kind of my complaint, I guess, with the PS4 generation, is so many designers just chose to go 30 FPS with things. In the PS3, there was a lot of 30 FPS, 20 FPS games, and that kind of sucks for a lot of gameplay types. And there's certain kinds of gameplay that you actually can't operate at 30 FPS well. I remember, what was that? I had a Need for Speed game that ran at 30 FPS. I'm like, this is awful, man. Like, it's so choppy when you, just that little bit of lag for your reaction, like your visual jaggedness kind of slows your reaction down, makes it a lot less fun to play. Racing games need to be 60 FPS. Fighting games need to be at least 60 FPS. Games like Dark Souls need to be 60 FPS. They really do. Games where there's a lot of twitching or reaction, you need to lower the graphics to get to 60 FPS. That's my opinion. I know graphics sell games. Graphics sell a lot of things. One thing I love about the PS5 is that so many of the designers chose to give you the option to pump the frame rate. Do you want to play with your, all your, what is it? What am I thinking of here? What's the lighting? I'm drawing a blank. Do you want to play with the super good lighting, or do you want to play with less good lighting and have it be buttery smooth? It's your option, because some people would rather have the whole, super good lighting thing, and other people would rather have a really smooth game. So it's cool that they give you that option in a lot of games. Do you have a Game Pass on PC? No. I don't ever buy Xbox games. Redfall's an embarrassment. So I don't have an Xbox, so I'm not plugged into the Xbox console environment at all. I have a PC, and I love PC games. And that's the main reason I never bought an Xbox, was like it was just a separate environment. Might as well go with Sony because it has different exclusives if I'm going over to the TV, or Nintendo. And now I guess it's a little bit different. There's a little more cross-play stuff. Ray tracing. I don't know why I blanked on that. Ray tracing. Thank you. Unless it's Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which still chugs even on performance mode. Yeah, well, I didn't buy that at launch. I know that they'll eventually put it on sale for $15 like they did. I feel like this game was built to capitalize on the goodwill that slowly built up because of the other, what is it? Jedi Fallen Order, which is a good game. I really enjoyed it. I feel like they're trying to capitalize on the goodwill for that slowly built up. People figured out it was a really fun game. So they're like, oh, we got to come up with a sequel. And maybe they rushed the performance aspects of it. You know, all Xbox games are on Steam anyway. Yeah. I mean, I have no problem buying on a different platform like the Epic Game Store or something like that. That doesn't bother me. I know some people are like, I don't want to have 20 different launchers. I'm like, I understand that. Unfortunately, like, that's the way that a lot of game content is managed on the PC. You got to have the Origin launcher, the Epic Game Store, the Steam Game Store, the Xbox Game Store. You got to have like 4 or 5 of these things. And then for every MMO, you have to have a separate launcher for the MMO, which is just kind of borky, I guess. Don't like it. Local files. How do I uninstall this? I have the demo installed. The Final Fantasy XV demo. Which is not a bad demo. Uninstalled. There we go. But I don't need the demo. I just bought the full game. I'd point down for Jedi Survivor. Gameplay's great. Performance sucks. Story is whack. Well, the first one, the first one's really good. The Jedi Fallen Order has a okay story. It's probably the best Disney Wars story that I've seen, which is saying something, but it's not as good as like Jedi Knight. If you haven't ever played the original Jedi Knight, I think that's worth playing. And I'm wondering if there's any community that's formed around that game, because I loved that game back in the day. The multiplayer was just fantastic. That maybe has worked on some mods to play it at a higher quality. I have it. No, let's see here. Star Wars Dark Forces 2. I wonder if we could play this. Let's see what I can do here. I don't think I can change the streaming rate to be like 4K, but I could possibly... Does this even that does capture my whole monitor. Okay. Maybe we'll try that. Hold on. Stop. What does that do? I had some... Oops, that didn't do it. Okay. Okay, that didn't do it. I'm trying to figure out what my hotkeys were. I might have... Because I don't have a second monitor set up to like control this stuff right now. Here. Let's see if Jedi Knight runs here. Dark Forces 2. See how it runs. It may not even run on Windows 11. I may have to like DOSBox it or something. Actually, I don't think it ran on DOS. I think it was a Windows. Oh, there it is. All right, let's see if I can show it to you guys. Oh boy, it's running. What resolution is this? New player. Let's go medium. Oh wait, you can't see this. Let me see if I can. Oh goodness. It's running it and it's running in like 480p. Where is this? All right. It's gonna. You guys are gonna laugh at this. I can't even like see it. Oh goodness. Let me see if I can. Hold on. Let me see if I can. All right. Can you see this? It's so tiny. Do 1. Setup. General. Okay. Can I even click these? Okay. Display. Enable 3D acceleration. 640 by 40. Let's see. We're not even going to see the right resolution here. 1280 by 1024. View size. Okay. Can I run it in window mode? What happens when we turn on 3D acceleration? Uh-huh. Narshada, the vertical city. Yeah, these were cool 90s cutscenes too. Super choppy and awful resolution though. Yeah, it's like just right in the middle of my monitor here. Let me see if I can bring this back up. I'm gonna have to exit the game in order to like properly operate this. So that's fun. Alright. Skip the cutscene. Windows turned on auto HDR. It can't display anything. It's probably we gotta turn off the 3D acceleration. There he goes. Oh wow, it's all inverted. Doesn't look that bad for the 90s. I'll have to like create a custom video so you guys can see this there. Alright. Yeah, I think we'll yes, so abort the mission. Quit. See if it's oh boy, there we go. Yeah, that's wild. Oh, let me. It turned all of my windows into like tiny little 480 windows. So bad. There's a way to get it to run in 1080p. Yeah, but my monitor is 4K. It's a 4K monitor. So that might be challenging. 1080p would probably be acceptable. Yeah, I'll have to mod it to run it at a higher resolution. Either that or like if I could run it in a window, that would be fine as well. Yeah, that seems like an easy remake, but I think a lot of people don't remember it. It's not a big game like Final Fantasy VII where people are just going to remember it. You know what I mean? So it's a good game though. If you could find a way to run it, I think it's definitely a classic. A lot of these classics get forgotten over time because there's no one around to port them to newer hardware or, basically do the hard work of making it run on new stuff. Try the community hub. See if they have something here. Discussions. Apparently there's a Jedi Knight remastered. A big mod. Biggest change means ultra-wide support as well as in-game configurations. Interesting. So there's a whole mod that remasters it. Let's check it out. Well, that's interesting. we'll have to check that out and give a report of it. Um, but if you do want to check it out, there is a, Jedi Knight Remastered right here. Yeah, we finished Final Fantasy VII a while ago. It looks like it. I mean, it looks like it does a lot of reworking. I would love like higher textures. There's also there's kind of a remaster out there called LF1 for Marathon 123. That's pretty good. Kind of like running any whatever modern ports of Doom. How do we get this? How do you tutorials? How do you install it? How do you get it? Files. Jedi Knight Remastered. It's just a zip file. Download now. Oh, let's put some viruses on my computer real quick. It's only 685 megs. Add-ons. So apparently, yeah, you got to do a little work if you want to get these fully done. Welcome to Jedi Knight Remastered. Does it have all the like upscale textures? That would be cool. Two hours left. Opening in 2 hours. Alright. That's okay. David, can you play the drums? Yes. Would you ever do a stream of you playing Rock Band? Probably not. Because I don't have it. I use an LG C1 is my monitor. It's a 48-inch monitor. It's great because it's like having four HD monitors in like kind of a rectangle, and you can use part of it or all of it or whatever you want to do, and it looks great. You do, because it's an OLED, you do have more care considerations. I use an animated like background, which keeps burn-in from happening, and I don't pin anything to corners, and that will avoid creating burn-in for your monitor. Can you play the didgeridoo? Yeah, it's actually not hard. The didgeridoo is very easy to play. You sing while buzzing, so it's if I got a trumpet, I could show you what a didgeridoo does, but it's like, I'll go get a cardboard tube and I'll show you how to do didgeridoo. Okay. So, cardboard tube can be your didgeridoo. This one's actually a bad one because it's too thick. But, you know, you can get like a Christmas paper tube. And you just play it like a trumpet. And you just sing while you play it. And that's didgeridoo. So it's not... It's nothing like a special thing. It's kind of like Mongolian throat singing. It's just like you buzz your throat and then you buzz your voice. I don't know if I can do it. Where you do two things at once. I'm not good at that, but that's how it works. So didgeridoo is not particularly difficult to play. But you can get the understand the effect if you just buzz your lips like you're playing trombone or tuba into a cardboard tube. So that's that. That's how you play didgeridoo. It's nothing like particularly special. I think it's just associated. You know, it's an ethnic instrument and gets associated with weird ethnic sounds, but it's not. It's really not that hard to play. Anyway, let's check on this library. Oh. Dark Forces 2. That is a really good one to play. Windows Edition is not done installing. I'm gonna run out of time on the stream before I can install this game. I'm gonna get a drink real quick. Let me link some music. So you can check out some music here, which is good stuff. Very good stuff. Let me play some. I think we were playing before I left this one. I'll just zoom ahead. Be right back. I guess the I never turned the mic off. Sorry about that. Whoops. Yeah. I'm going to record another album because I got a new guitar. That's how I am. I'm like, yeah, I got a Parker Fly. I got to do a whole album of Parker Fly. That's how I'm going to do it. Okay. I need to like hook up my... I usually have a Wacom tablet as another monitor. So I need to hook that up if I'm going to stream this really well. But we'll give it a shot here. Oh, it's still not done downloading. Goodness. It's another good song. So all that's from the new album, Return. Although I've been putting out the music for a while now. You can buy all of it right here. What's the newest book? Newest book is Demon Ex Machina. If you don't have it yet, you can actually get it if you're not on my mailing list yet. Get it for free. That's what it looks like. Bop, bop, boop. And you can do dvspress.com/free-book and boom. I'm going to keep that link always live so it always works, and then change out what the free book is every once in a while. All right, it's done. 105 gigs. All right. Let's see here. Let's see how this works. Here I am. See my desktop for a moment here. Little glimpse behind the curtain. See if it runs. Here we go. And then I can't see the chat. So I'll have to like get the chat out on my phone or something. GeForce Experience highlights. Okay, whatever. A Final Fantasy for fans and first timers. Every game should be like that. Final Fantasy 16 should be like that. Oh, it's tempting to do Nihongo, but we'll do English. Tempting to do Japanese, but we'll do English, I think. Device. I don't know what... Television or home theater? I don't know. I'm going to say television. It's not... I mean, it's technically correct. Let's see if I can get this. Could be a little bit different angle here. Let's get the... Set that up just a bit. There we go. What's cool about this little mic boom arm thing is I can get it to some different interesting positions here. Saving. Okay. I actually really love the music in this game. Special gift from Twitch Prime. Oh, that's a good... Look at him. I think Final Fantasy XIII actually had the best music of any of them. That might be a super controversial take, but the Final Fantasy XIII soundtrack is so good. I want my special gift. I have to authenticate my Twitch account. Exit. Wait, I don't have Twitch Prime. I used to stream on Twitch. I should do it again. Options. Let's see here. Display. Oh, it's doing 1920? Baby, we got to do more than that. Here we go. Full screen, FPS on, so we can see how bad our performance is. Graphics. Highest preset. NVIDIA Hairworks. I'm gonna just run everything at max and see what happens. And if it runs like garbage, then I can see that frame rate up there, 120. It's probably okay. Is there an HDR option? Don't know. Eye tracking? Eye tracking? I'm really curious about that. Is there like a VR version of this? That would be cool. Difficulty, we'll do normal. There we go, new game. Normal. Yeah, give me a tutorial, why not? I'm gonna pull the, I think I'll pull the stream up on my phone and I can see the chat that way. Because I don't want to go like hunt down my Wacom monitor. Oh, no, no, I'm gonna skip this. How do I skip this? I don't want to do this. This is boring. It's so good to see you again. This also might be too loud. You remember my name, right? You gave it to me earlier. Carbuncle. Promotions. Need more Mario? I actually don't. YouTube. Now live. There we go. There we go. Oh, it's stuck to the top left. Interesting. Okay, hopefully it works okay now. Now that it's I need to skip this. I mean, it's running at 80. Well, no. Okay. Where's my controller? There we go. I don't want to play this game with the mouse. I mean, it's okay indoors. Skip the whole tutorial thing. Let me see what it looks like live. I got an ad for Honkai Star Rail first. Got to get through the ads to see what my stream looks like. Yeah, it's stuck up in the upper left. That's weird. Why is it doing that? Should be running full screen. We'll adjust it in OBS. Let's check it out in OBS here. All right. Yeah, in OBS, it should be doing the full screen. We'll try a different one. That's a 4K one. Monitor. It should just be doing it. But we can add a game capture, and that'll probably do it. That'll work. Move that up. Okay. Alright, that should work now. Let's find out. Otherwise, like, I could do it in a window here. Display. Alright. That should work. Let's see what that looks like on the stream here. So I want to use it on the full monitor. It looks beautiful. Your game. Normal. No tutorial. Tutorial gives you some cool lore background. See, now I can't see the game at all on the thing here. So there we go. Hopefully y'all can see that, right? All right. The tale of the chosen king, savior to the star. From the future, Noctis, Lucis, Kylo. Move, look around. What's behind us? Blackness. Ahead of us is this fire with this typical Final Fantasy boss here. Every like Final Fantasy in-game boss has to be some kind of giant homunculus of disgusting proportion.
No! Over here! Quickly, before he strikes again!
Running about 60 FPS, 50, 40.
I got your back!
Here you go. Let's go.
So it's okay. Let's see how it runs in the open world. Also, like, tell me if it's too loud. Yeah, I hope every game that I buy is good. I hope Final Fantasy 16 is good. Oh, look at this.
The creed hour is come.
This is
Set forth with my blessing, Prince Noctis.
low resolution.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
It's a 1080p
Take
video.
your leave and go in the grace of the gods.
Right.
I feel like the aesthetic choices of this game were just so bizarre. Not really good.
Well, princes will be princes.
So much for royal protocol.
Not like you had to deliver a formal address.
Your Highness!
Turn it up a bit.
What now?
I fear I have left too much unsaid. You place a great burden on those who would bear with you.
You're one to talk.
I ask not that you guide my wayward son, merely that you remain at his side.
Indeed, Your Grace. We'll see the Prince to Alticia if it's the last thing we see.
Yeah, what he said. Hate to break this up, but Kor's got the motor running. Drados, he's in your hands.
And another thing. Do mind your manners around your charming bride-to-be.
Your Majesty as well. Try to mind yours around our esteemed guests from Niflheim.
You have no cause for concern.
Nor do you.
Take heed. Once you set forth, you cannot turn back.
You think I would?
I need only know that you are ready to leave home behind.
Don't know about you, but I'm ready as I'll ever be.
Take care on the long road. Wheresoever you should go, the line of Lucis goes with you. Walk tall, my son.
So if people are wondering about story stuff, this is actually a good example of what I call expositional dialogue, which is where characters will say things basically as exposition to tell the audience certain things. Watch for our esteemed guests from Niflheim. Be cool to your darling bride-to-be. So they're giving you exposition for how this story works. And this is called direct exposition. Prince Noctis, Lucius Caelum, sets forth from his homeland with his 3-man retinue in tow, his destination Alticia, capital of Accordo, where he will formalize the union of states through his marriage to Lady Lunafreya of the imperial province of Tenebrae. So they are telling you what's up directly in the loading screen, but they do it kind of indirectly, but they do it through dialogue. It's really direct exposition through dialogue. That's some pretty bad frames right there. 17 FPS. We're gonna have to fix that. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
I think we can forget about hitching our way there. Thought people were friendly outside the city.
You can only go so far on the kindness of strangers.
So a lot of, in this case, the characters are really.
I've already pushed myself
I'll let this run, but
to the brink of death.
they're going to be saying things that they already know to tell you what's happening.
Sheesh. I thought the car was supposed to move us.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Can it? Ready, steady.
Push!
Now, let me see. Oh, and now it jumps into that's really weird. So it was at 15 FPS for that little cutscene, and then it's back at 60. That's really strange. Oh, I can see some shadow pop in over there. Now, I wonder what it was doing there. But it's kind of weird, a pop song in this. So yeah, expositional dialogue is where characters more or less say things to each other that they already know for the benefit of the audience. Like why, the king and the son have to have this little conversation where they tell you the setup for the story, even though they already would have said all this stuff at other times without as much drama.
What?
Fix this thing by yourself.
All by myself?
You won't even notice if we just let go.
Pronto? Don't even think about it.
Save some breath for pushing.
Ignis, come on, time to switch.
Nuh-uh. We just switched back there.
Cinematic 15 frames.
It's done.
My hands are killing me.
You rather I kill you with mine?
Easy there, tough guy.
Any luck?
Only a busy signal.
Hold the phone. Is it just me? Or was it supposed to be way closer?
I assure you, the map is correct.
The map said Hammerhead was right there.
Literally next door.
Looks that way. On a map of the world.
I've heard the PC port was completely all over the place. Didn't imagine literally so. Yeah, it was pretty wacky right there. I don't know what that was. So now, yeah, it drops down to 20 FPS for this part right here.
Tell that to my left.
That is wild.
You guys even pushing?
Why on earth is it doing that? I don't know. It doesn't do this on the PlayStation version. On the PlayStation version, this is all like completely smooth. But that's a little weird. I mean, with PC ports, a lot of times you get these hiccups. It says it's using 27 gigs of memory. It's quite a bit. Out of my 64, whatever I have. You better have an extra 32 gigs of memory, unused memory.
Now, which one's the prince?
You like how they start with the butt and then pan up?
Aha! Hello, Your Highness. Congrats on your wedding.
Not hitched.
And that the
just
boobs
yet.
are in the center of the frame.
Lady Luna
like vertically.
here in
In the center of the
Hammerhead.
frame.
Apologies for taking so long.
You best save your apologies for Pawpaw.
May turn off those shadows. There's like a lot of
makes
flickering
you.
shadows.
Cindy, Sid's grease monkey granddaughter.
Roll her in while I'm still young. Didn't your daddy tell you? She's a custom classic, not some beat-up old clunker.
I think it's a remnant from when the game was supposed to be related to Final Fantasy 13.
Yeah.
took your old man and kicked the dignity out of him.
What?
You got a long way to go, son. And that slackjaw's getting you nowhere fast. She's gonna take a while. Y'all get her in and run along.
Y'all heard him. Let's get moving. Right this way.
It could be one of those settings like
No.
the shadow softening
Never liked that game.
and the
Never any good at it either.
like the hairworks making it tank. I had that with The Witcher 3. Like if you turn on the hairworks, like things just the hair flew about wildly and weirdly, and it dropped the frames by like 20 FPS for some reason. So I turned that off. So we could probably adjust that. That might actually be it. Options, display, or actually be graphics. I want to add the assets off. What did that do? Oh, did I just lose everything I did? That would be great. Oh, it sent me back to the main menu. I'm stupid. Well, that was dumb. Wonder if it auto-saved. Probably. Options. Graphics. Custom. What is assets? I don't know what assets does. I can't even select it. Anti-aliasing. What's the best anti-aliasing? DLSS? No, that's what, TAAA? I don't know. You guys tell me. What's the best anti-aliasing? It was originally called, yeah, this game was originally called Final Fantasy 13 Versus. And default. Turf effects. Realistic grass simulation. Let's turn that on. Default. There's going to be one of those random settings that's causing frame dips. That's the kind of the crappy thing about console games. I could run it with none. I mean, it's running at 4K, so like your need for anti-aliasing is lower when you're just running at a higher resolution. So I mean, we could try it with it off. And we don't really need it. It's just like you do see jaggies like around hair, right there with that high contrast. You can see it kind of flickering there, which is a little weird. You maybe can't see it on the stream, I realize, because the stream is in 1080p, but I'm playing in 4K, so it probably looks pretty smooth on the other side. Alright, what are we doing? I have to talk to her? Sorry.
Y'all ain't never been out this way before, have you? Go on, have a look around. This'll make sure y'all don't get lost.
Could test a lot of this stuff off screen.
Might as well make good use of the extra time.
Whoa! They got Ebony out here. Huh, Ignis is gonna flip. Wait, what's a gill?
What's a gill?
Welcome.
Hey, look, it's Forrest Whitaker. Like, that's Forrest Whitaker, isn't it? Did they like steal Forrest Whitaker's face here?
What do y'all want to know?
I pressed the heart button here. We used to get MSAA, SMAA, and SSAA, which were all good ones, but SSAA tanked performance and MSAA took some performance hits. Multi-sampling is what we used to use. I have 0 gil.
Take your pick.
There we go.
Much obliged. You boys are a brave bunch.
Get some hunts going here.
Much obliged. Take care.
The mud knocked. We've expended the last of our funds on the repairs. I suggest we confer with Cindy.
Broken down and flat broke.
Insult
Adding
Cindy.
insult to injury.
Old man's in for both after charging us that much.
Yeah, let's pay him a visit.
Alright. Hi,
She
Cindy.
ain't gonna be ready for a while. Y'all need something?
Should I ask for a discount? Ask my friends. I don't think any of this matters.
We're strapped for cash. Any way we could earn a little?
Oh, now I get it. This must be what Pawpaw meant when he said he was gonna teach them boys a lesson. Told me he ought to have y'all take care of some ornery varmints that have been causing a ruckus around here. I'd be happy to pay y'all for your services if you're up to the challenge. How about it?
Old man's got his eye on you, Knocked. Show him what you got.
Some weird looking facial expressions there. Alright. Gear. Noctis have a... Oh yeah, they give you some like free gear here. What is this? Oh, you can... This is lightning sword right here. So you can do the... It absorbs the elemental powers of defeated foes. Gives you a quest to find 8 tomatoes. I downloaded the shirtless boy band mod. Made me remember putting Shulk in the crew in bear attire in Xenoblade. Ragnarok. Wait, no, wait. I think Ragnarok is a... Is that a two-handed sword? I can't tell. But it's really good, so... Masamune. Mage Mashers. He has to stay with handgun. Guy Bulk. Oh, that's pretty good. Alright, there we go. Blaze Fire Saber, I guess? I don't know. Keep that up. Actually, probably don't need this. Guy Bulg. Can I equip it? Maybe I can't. You can, oh yeah, look at all this. We can put a bunch of stuff on. You put the Magitech exosuit. Everyone can look like a robot. It'd be Altair. Trendy outfit. Royal raiment. Looks pretty good. Take the jacket off and it ups the strength, but lowers the HP. That's funny. There we go. He doesn't have a lot of other stuff to do. Casual outfit. But that apparently doesn't give you as much HP. Give him like no jacket. think I have any ability points. Oh, I do. I have 10. So I could do reduce the MP cost of phasing. Oh yeah, we can do different stuff here. I want to hold on to that stuff.
But don't go running around after dark. The demons are liable to rip y'all to shreds. Here.
Yeah, all
This idea
JRPG
about
characters should be
places
tens. They
just
should be ready for a
between us,
beach
though.
photo shoot at
Don't
any
tell
time. I
Papa.
agree. It's like I didn't play this game to not see hot characters. You know what I'm saying? Like even dudes. It doesn't matter. The dudes should be hot too.
Wow, they got a lot of different stuff here, huh?
That's how it works.
Looks like we found our first targets. Ready? Knocked.
Conjure weapons to check. Hold B. They give you like a super powerful weapon at the beginning. Makes, oh! Should make this kind of easy. Finesse D.
On we go.
Finesse D. I'm running around in the desert in a suit. It's so silly. I don't remember the controls for this game at all. It's okay. We'll figure them out as we go. Everybody's running along with me.
They aren't gonna know what hit them. Let's do this.
The best offense is a good defense. Keep it together.
Can't stop not.
What can I say?
Okay.
I feel like the lock-on just doesn't work all that well.
Don't let up now.
Accident.
There we go. I have to defend against 3 attacks. It's not working. Oh, that's why I'm pressing the wrong button. I'm pressing Y instead of X.
No cause for concern.
No big deal.
All right.
All right. We'll be done in no time.
Let's get on with it.
Conjure handgun.
So, where are we headed anyway?
Nowhere until the repairs are done.
I'm using an Xbox
Then
controller.
after that, we hop a boat, and before you know it,
I just think in Nintendo terms. When I think see Y, or when I think see X, I think where triangle is. You know, Xbox did something stupid and reversed their letters for no reason. Could have gone with standard letters, but they didn't. They reversed them.
almost there. Give it your all.
I have no stamina. There we go.
Outstanding, Dolly.
D, finesse. My finesse is so bad.
Who could this be?
What we got here?
Hello?
Hey, it's Cindy. How goes the hunt?
I'm not playing this with keyboard and mouse. That'd be awful.
Cause I got one more hunt for y'all. Only this time, it's for a person. Fella named Dave went off. We ain't heard from him since. Reckon he staked out a spot in an old shack nearby.
Old shack. Oh, got it.
So something about this game is like we're out here fighting monsters outside of Baker, California.
So, what did Cindy say?
You know,
Needs us to find
like
some Dave guy.
this really looks like the Mojave Desert between LA and Las Vegas. It really looks this way. Like that's what it actually looks like out there. Including like these old barns with bad corrugated steel roofs and stuff like that. So like there was kind of a turnoff when I first got this game. I was like, oh man, I don't want to adventure in Baker. I've driven through Baker 1,000 times. I'd lived here. This is Middlebury, California. Ugh. I don't want to adventure in Middlebury. Middlebury's a fake place that I invented in
What's this?
my books, by the way. Mutant dual horn sighting, codenamed Bloodhorn. Characteristics: red tusks, extremely violent. Outstanding bounty on saber tusks in the area.
Get out of here! You okay?
We are now.
That was a dangerous dude. He shot a guy off his friend. He would never do that. I cannot see what I'm doing at all.
We all good.
Better than good.
Good to go.
Alright, gotta see.
Hey, what about the shack over there?
I don't see that shack. Head for the nearby shack. Alright, well, let's go. I don't know how people play Souls games with the keyboard and mouse either. That seems like impossible to me. But, you know, I don't know. I don't know how people could play an MMO with a controller, and then I play Final Fantasy XIV. I'm like, this is actually works really good. I like the controller now. Let's see, check gear. Gear. Oh yeah, good. We have one that's like no fatigue from running. That's pretty good. These are all really stamina badge. That's pretty good. I don't know if these actually will work. We'll find out. I mean, it's a fun game. I never finished it, though.
Got a plan.
Alright, warp to the windmill. Okay.
Huh. What are we looking at?
This creature is known as a saber tusk. It skewers prey with its tusks, extracting game from the safety and comfort of burrows.
That's a bit heartless.
Yeah. Don't think we'll be befriending any.
I'm not sure how to lock onto the... Ah, there we go. Well. Kinda. There we go. Will quickly recover HP and MP while hanging from high ground. There we go.
Hey, who's out there?
Hey, it's Dave.
Well, and look who's in here. The man of the hour. Dave, right? Been looking for you.
Didn't mean to cause y'all any trouble. I'm getting stuck here on account of my sprained ankle. Yeah, something funny about them markets.
Yeah, for $18, it's probably a pretty good game. That's a good point.
Still one mean mud about. Well, y'all don't look much like hunters, but what do you
I think
say?
I paid.
Put that puppy to rest.
Oh, did I pay full price for it when it came out? Let's do it for free.
Oh, yeah. We'll take care of it.
Y'all got guts, that's for sure. Let me tell you where I last saw.
There's like a chromatic aberration effect here, which I'm not a fan of. I wonder
Way to
if
show
I
some
could turn that
spunk.
off. I don't know if you guys
Get
notice
ready
it,
to kick
but
some tail.
like kind of blurring on the shadows that blurs the red and blue.
It would be wise to rest up before we set out. In that case, let's find a spot to make camp.
The hunters are really out in full force around here, huh?
So they're the new Crown's Guard or something?
Similar, though technically a civilian outfit.
They've definitely seen a lot more action than we have.
Is it cool that we rock Crown's Guard outfits?
Be worse not to. They made them especially for us.
Even got a sweet insignia on them.
In the Crown's Guard, your attire identifies you, so wear it with pride.
Eyes forward.
Didn't mean to do...
Is there a rest spot on here somewhere? I don't know. Oh, there it is. Okay.
That.
Just follow the compass. Oh, it's got a rotating mini-map. I wonder if I can turn that off. I really hate rotating mini-maps. I think it's like a difference between men and women. Like women like rotating mini-maps, men hate them. Men like everything to be oriented properly at all times. Mini-maps destroy orientation. It's actually a big negative of Final Fantasy XIII. Is like the rotating mini-map, especially in the open world, because you can't keep track of where anything is. Camp at Havens, okay. Camp.
Let's call it a day.
All right. I'm gonna pitch the tent.
Hate them. But like it's default for Apple Maps. That's what you know. It's like Google Maps default is a fixed map. Apple Maps, it's rotating. Because like women use iPhones. I don't know. Next. I got some Coleman chairs. Actually, I think there's like some brand name stuff here. I think there's like a Coleman stove that we're gonna see. Yes, these are Coleman chairs. This is hilarious. I love it. I think that drink is an actual Japanese soda too. But yeah, they have Coleman chairs and a Coleman tent. That is awesome. It's hilarious. The product placement. I'm gonna go to McDonald's in Baker, California next. I'm kidding. I think there's only a Denny's in Baker, California. I don't remember. Do that. Got it. Oh yeah, this is the same voice as Balthier from Final Fantasy XII. I recognize several of the voices. time is it? We're running a little bit over, but it'll be fun. Prompto is documenting the journey in photographs. Review the pictures he takes and save his best snapshots. Well, we gotta save that one, huh? How do I make him save? X. It's a good one.
Hey, this one's pretty good.
I know. I dig it too.
I can't even tell what's happening here. It just like takes random
Perfect
screenshots.
timing.
It looks kind of cool. I like the spell effects. Alright. I think there's like a photo contest thing in here somewhere too.
Like a father to her.
Ever since they got
Alright.
back, Sid's been the only one looking after her.
Rather more than a middling mechanic can handle.
All things considered, I'd say she turned out okay.
But like any girl, you just need to treat her right.
Treat
This-
her wrong and Sid'll
this-
stuff his wrench with a
This is what an actual Coleman stove looks like, guys.
Take care of us.
This is literally what it is.
car.
This is a Coleman stove. You could buy this at Big Five or at Walmart, and this will be your stove, man. And actually, I recommend these stoves, by the way. These Coleman stoves, if you're looking to put together like a bug out, and it's a Coleman lamp. If you're looking to put together like a bug out box or bug out, I use a bug out box, and it's not to bug out because I think society's going to collapse. But an emergency supplies, like get a big tote and fill it full of stuff with emergency supplies. The Coleman stove is great because you can boil water with it or cook food with it, whatever you need to do if you need to go camping, like if there's a flood or an earthquake or something, depending on where you're at. It's really good to have one of these around. The propane bottles don't like lose any of their potency. You can just have them sitting on the shelf in your garage or, wherever you keep things. It's good to have them for if you have an apartment. It's good to have a couple things like this too. An ice chest and some emergency blankets. Throw your food in there and off you go. If you have like a big bag of rice, 5 pounds of rice will feed several people for several days without any problems. 1 cup of rice makes 2 cups of rice when you boil it. So it all doubles in size. And 2 cups of rice is like 400 calories. So maybe even more. I think each cup is 220 calories of rice. So for people to eat for a full day, if they need 1,000 calorie like survival ration, that's 5 cups of rice each. That comes down to 2.5 cups per person of uncooked. So like a big bag of rice will actually feed you for a while, and it's really easy to make. It takes like 5 minutes, a little bit longer. It takes 10 or 20 minutes to boil rice. I skipped over 8 because I just wanted a break from PS1. I wanted to play something modern, and I'll play this for a while, and then Final Fantasy 16 comes out. I'll probably do that one. I think we can get something from these like little things on the map here. Yeah, these elemental things. Absorb. There we go. And then you can use Elemancy. Amount of energy to add a catalyst and crafting to increase the spell's potency. You can do fire. Okay. I'm not sure how to do this. Select an empty magic flask in which to craft a spell. Okay. But we don't have any fire, so we'll go. We have a couple around here, so that's a cool. We'll dash over here. Absorb the lightning. And then we'll go get ice and we'll make some spells, I guess. Yeah, I played Final Fantasy VII at this point a year, which is too long, and it's because I didn't stream enough. There were like there was like a whole month I didn't stream at all because of moving and all kinds of other things. And my life is still super busy right now. I've got a bunch of other things going on. I'm still trying to do, right now it's kind of hard to write because of just other things. I'm getting a little bit done working on the Storycraft manual, working on some other things that I want to put out. I do want to put out the Eternal Dream 3 book this year, so that'll happen. Slowly getting that manuscript finished and make eyes. Blizzard times 3 with how potent can we make it? Pretty potent here. Let me just add potency with something else. What happens if I add fire? Does that add potency? So I think it's the first one you put in. And then there may be catalysts. So if we get some catalysts, it'll do some stuff. Thunder. Thunder! What does it do? Fire? Thunder. Alright, we'll do thunder. Craft. Okay. Equip. Thunder. Probably just didn't do enough of that, but we'll try it out. We can make some more. On to the next part. And then I'm going to... how dare I prioritize real life responsibilities over old video games? I love hanging out and streaming, and the video games are a great way to talk about games with people that love them. And I really love RPGs. I love old RPGs a lot. When you get the chance, could you see the video Millennial Writing by Shredded Nerd? Ooh, sounds like a guy who lifts. Cool. It's probably full of things you already know and agree with, but it's good to watch anyway. I think we're all going to play Final Fantasy 16 together. Final Fantasy 9 is a gem. It's great. I've played it...
Over there. That's it,
I
right?
played it not that long ago.
That's a dual horn?
It's great. Final Fantasy 9 is probably aesthetically my favorite Final Fantasy game.
Best make quick work of it.
And I think it has some of my favorite characters. Gameplay is okay. It's okay. It's not my favorite gameplay.
You ought to be too.
I think my favorite gameplay is actually 4 or 12.
Look out!
Nice one.
It's not over yet.
This like shaky cam is really annoying. Your friends can perform special techniques to aid you in combat.
Poncho, you're up.
Die on me.
Oh, I missed it. But there we go.
Hey, Ignis, instructions.
And then I could do something here too.
God, boys, we're in the home stretch.
Have Gladio use Tempest. Alright.
Gladio, do it.
Alright.
And on we go.
Right.
Okay. That works.
Ring, ring.
Hello?
Hello?
Hey, Dave just called and said he's safe. Thanks for finding him.
Ken?
Nice work, y'all. By the way, the old girl's looking good as new. Oh, while I got ya, if y'all want to fix her up before you roll out, let me know.
That's right. Dad said he left something in the trunk for me. It's a dead body.
Sounds good.
She'll be waiting at the garage.
Gotcha.
A mining node.
So,
Mini map. Rotation off.
He's
Ah,
next behind the wheel.
things are oriented.
Take it and never let go.
It helps that he can keep 4 eyes on the dash.
I couldn't even keep one.
Not sure I'd do any better.
Put me in the driver's seat.
Good. 'Cause I need the legroom in back.
This will make a fine paint.
Oh, we can paint our car with that. That's right. That's fun. I wonder if actually can we fast travel back to there? No. Hey, what does this do? X. That didn't do anything. Okay. I thought you could fast travel in this. Return to rest point. Ah, that's why. I can't return to car. We'll just run back. We'll just run back, and then that'll probably be it for today. See, but if I play this game, if I make a point of playing this game every night, then I will probably stream it every night, and then I'll get through the game a lot quicker. I kind of was not doing that for Final Fantasy VII, and it would have made it go a lot faster if I was streaming it more often. Like, I got through the first Final Fantasy game in like 2 weeks when I decided to do all these. But I had a great time playing it, streaming it. It was a lot of fun. Massive difference between this Final Fantasy and the ones you were playing a while ago. Yeah. Big gameplay difference. This one had such a different gameplay from all the others, you know. Even Final Fantasy XIII had some variation of like the ATB system. Even though you were like changing gambits or whatever it was, you were changing stances, and it would, change everything around. People are like, "Oh, you just auto attack." It's like later in the game, you're not just auto attacking. You have to do a lot more specific stuff later.
It's rude to keep a girl waiting. You better apologize. What is that?
Oh, this bird comes back later. Look at that thing. Wow.
Hurricane. That thing's like half bird, half storm, half airship.
You realize that's 3 halves.
Would explain its size.
Awesome in every sense.
All right. That's right. We're going back to Baker, California here. Home of the Denny's that you stop at an hour out of Vegas. Or you can drive all the way to Barstow and have Dairy Queen, Jack in the Box, maybe Carl's Jr. Final Fantasy 13-3 was the closest from what I've seen. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Final Fantasy 13 had I think it had a really good combat system. A lot of people don't like it because it doesn't really open up till you get pretty far in the game. So maybe that's a flaw with the design, that the early versions of the game, nothing was automated. Totally. You queued in every single command, but that got extremely difficult to do when you were later in the game doing really higher level stuff and had a lot of spells. So they simplified some of the interface there, but it made it seem all a little too automatic. So I think that's a valid complaint, probably.
Sorry about the wait. Ain't she purty?
She's almost too pretty for the road.
She's back. We should all get a picture with her.
This is almost a joke costume, but like there are women who actually dress like this.
All the more reason to ride with care. Oh, and before I forget, would y'all mind making a little delivery for me?
No, not at all.
Perfect. Thought you'd say yes. So I already put it in the trunk. There should
I don't
be
remember
a hotel
everything in
on your
Baker
way to
because
Golden.
I actually
Y'all
haven't
wouldn't
been
mind
through
giving that to the
Baker
owner? That'd be
as
swell.
I'm thinking about it.
Grandkid.
I don't think I've been through Baker in 10 years now.
Now that she's all polished up and ready for the road.
I left Las Vegas and I haven't been back since, except by air. I haven't driven back. Yeah, I haven't been back except to the airport, really.
And I needn't
Since
remind
then.
you to exercise caution.
But I have a lot of memories of Baker because I'd stopped there a lot. I remember the last time I stopped there was at a Denny's. It was at that Denny's that we used to eat at. Me and my roommate stopped there when we were moving out of town on our way back to California. And yeah, I think I have some pictures. It was the middle of the night, and what did we do? We had the dog with us. I had the dog, Jada the dog. I think we left her in the car. I wasn't sure if we ate. We ate inside. And I think she was okay staying in the car and going to sleep.
What's the forecast?
Clear skies with the temperature rising.
Nice.
Drive to the rest area. You can also do the hunts. But I think I'm probably going to save the game here. How do I look at the map?
Everybody out.
Aye, aye.
Might want to stock up on potions and stuff.
Nice. You're being helpful for a change.
What do you mean for a change?
Hey, Iggy.
Oh, there it is. Alright, so we can automatically drive there. I think there's some hunts. You can tow the car. I thought there were some hunts to do, but
How's the diner sound?
quests. There we go. There we go. Howling Winds of Hunger. Level 2. Let's do that one.
Splendid.
Let's go do that one, because that'll get some easy money.
Your
And
ebony.
then I'll probably call it, because I streamed a little bit of extra time. I have fun with it, though, and I like talking to you guys.
The
bird's gonna eat me.
Garage ever.
Oh
You
my
know?
God, it's awesome in every way
Less of purveyors to the crown.
until it eats you. Imagine
I'll miss it once this road trip's over
you
with.
see a grizzly bear, you're like, oh,
There's
it's
no reason
awesome
you can't
every
pay
way.
them a visit anytime you please. I'm sure Cindy will be glad to look after your car. Oh, right.
So, that's what this is about.
If you need, I could always lend you the regalia.
Whoa! Thanks for the offer, but once we're back in the Crown City, I think I better score my own wheels.
Let's move.
Yeah.
Don't miss. That wasn't so hard.
It takes two. What can I say? Ignis!
Don't be late.
There we go. Kill them all? Oh, nope, there's one left.
Knocked rules!
No big deal.
Alright. There we go. Is there another one near here? Oh, just turn it back in. Return the car. Just keep the car by that, and then it's really easy.
Huh.
Run in here and get some money. We can actually stay in the trailer. The trailer will, is a place you can stay and cook and level up. You can also buy food from this guy. This guy looks exactly like Forrest Whitaker
What
to
can I do
me.
you for? Nice work out there.
Alright. I'm going to save the game and call it here, I think.
If y'all liked it, come on back.
Let's save. Boom. Alright, that was fun. I gotta work some more on the garage, I think, today, too. Okay. Final Fantasy 12 is really good. I liked Final Fantasy 12 a lot too. And so what I liked about 12, where am I? Here I am. Okay. What I really liked about Final Fantasy 12 was the gameplay. The story I thought was actually good. It's just kind of told in a somewhat indirect manner, where the guy who's presented as the main character is really just sort of along for the ride, and that's Vaughn. The real main character is probably Ashe, and maybe Balthier are the more protagonistic characters. So that's a little weird, but it's actually a good story. It has a lot of deep lore. The characters are really likable. The environments and the aesthetics of the environments I really love, but mainly I really like the gameplay. I didn't like it when I first played it back when it came out in 2006. Then when I went back and played it again, it was like, oh, I love this. Once I realized it was a lot like Dragon Age Origins, then I really fell in love with the game again. So I really love the battle system was originally designed by the guy who did Final Fantasy Tactics, if I remember right, which is good. You spend most of the game doing those hunt quests. Everyone always compares 12 to Star Wars. I don't know why. It didn't seem very Star Warsy to me, but maybe because there's an empire. There's like an evil empire. But it was really good, and I liked the final boss fights. There's some optional boss fights that are really fun, take a long time to do. And if you get the remaster is very good overall. Mainly with the fast forward thing, because it lets you get through. There was definitely some slow places in Final Fantasy 12 as far as grinding or going through different environments. But overall, I think it's really good. So anyway, that's it for today, guys. I will see you all next time. Have a great one. Yeah, definitely grew on me. Did not love Final Fantasy 12 at first, but I really ended up liking it over time. So take it easy, and I'll see you guys next time.